I could speak to how things are shifting right now in animation in terms of the pipeline. For instance, when I first got into modeling, it was basically, we get a piece of artwork, like Brian was saying, how he used to design on a project. We get his designs, and then we turn it into, a 3D model. That's all changing now for modelers. Now we've been reclassified as environment artists or character artists.
Okay.
So now, not only do we have to model, we have to start learning how to light. Character artists need to know how to rig. We have to know a little bit about not necessarily scripting, but working in node-based programs like Houdini. Right. We have to start learning how to do previs, which is pre-visualization, kind of like building a shot from like storyboards. So we're starting to have to do all those things, kind of like a hybrid artist, mixed together. So when say I get a storyboard panel like from Brian, I have to turn in this scene that I not only modeled, but I got the lighting started. I might have a couple of things in there rigged that are moving. I might have some cameras in there that are moving around. So it went from just modeling to being this kind of well-rounded artist, and that's kind of making it more. So while we're working, we're also learning right now. The newer people that are coming into the industry behind me, they're already doing that from college. So they got it. You know what I mean? And watching how they think for a shot or for a specific sequence is way different than how we were taught to think, say 6-7 years ago.
Especially for like younger people coming up in the game, there's a few things y'all talked on that I think are super important. One is that depending on the facet of animation that you're in, you may or may not get that luxury, right, to be able to perfect something, right? And I feel like I feel like that is a luxury that I would say to anybody getting in the industry, you do your best, but be fast and be on time, and and deliver the best you can within that time while trying to stay healthy. Because sometimes I think
that's a lot to balance.
It's a lot to balance, and it's a lot
crucial.
To somebody, especially because age will give you that. But like when you first start, you want to think like, hey man, I'll just kill myself and never sleep and just do that just to have, and that you can do that, but that's not sustainable, right? And you're gonna crash at some point, and you're gonna be like, I know friends that are, we all know people in the animation game that are bitter. They're angry, that are burnt out, and then some of that is the health component of it. Just really also learning how to know, and this is an experience thing, so I cannot impart this on anybody. Say that you have to, but as you grow and you know what time things take to do, and you start to understand the craft a little bit more, it becomes really important to sort of like speak up for yourself. To say, I always think to myself, what will allow me to do my best work, and that's the sort of the rationale I give behind anything.
Another thing about speed is understanding what's needed for the job, because one of the toughest things as an animator is understanding that nobody cares about animation like animators do. And it's easy for us to get caught up in making the most perfect animation that we've ever made. And that does take time.
Great.
But the question is, are you addressing what needs to be done? And are you doing it in a timely fashion? And also, like, you have to understand, unless it's your project, it's not your vision. You've been asked to be a part of this whole. And you have to bring what you know and what you can do, but you need to do it respectfully of what it is that's being asked of you. And a lot of people have this feeling like, well, it's got to be good from my point of view. And it's like, yeah, it should be good. It should be great. But are you doing what is asked? Is this your ego, or is this professionalism?
That's 100%. I'm gonna use a stupid example of real life example from our marriage. Like just literally, like my
here we go.
Like, this is a
sip the tea.
This is a simple example. So Kelley, like, let's say she has a specific taste with food. So I'd be like, she'd be like, go get me I'm just using this for the sake of example. Go get me a cheeseburger, a basic cheeseburger from McDonald's, right? I'll leave the house to go get the cheeseburger, and then I'll start thinking from the perspective, because it's not always about like, hey, I want to like, case of like, I want to really impress the director. I really want to, I know what's best for the director, whatever this thing is, right? So I go to McDonald's, but I'd be like, yo, a cheeseburger? Nah, she don't want that. She want like a Big Mac, and then she want a fry, and then maybe she want 2 Big Macs. I'm gonna do that. So then I'm spending all this time ordering all this shit. I get there, back to the crib, no cheeseburger, all this other stuff, and she's like, all I asked for was the cheeseburger, right?
And he got a filet of fish.
All your time, and you didn't get what he asked for. So I feel like that's like, I'm telling you, dog, that sounds ridiculous, but that is literally like in the industry, dog. Like if they give you a shot and like, look, this is the thing you need to focus on. Sometimes it's just that temptation, like Matt was saying, to be like, oh no, they gonna want this. You're gonna up the, you're gonna stress trying to make that. By the time you figure out that's not working, it's just gonna implode on you, right? So whenever you find yourself in those moments, I feel like whenever you get assignments, write them down, record them. Like whenever you get information from your direct person, and just always reference that, like, these are the things I have to hit. If I hit anything else after that, it's bonus. But just get what they ordered. Yeah. That's it.
You gotta make sure you listen right the first time, because I'm vegan. I wouldn't order a cheeseburger.
So you see him running in the house. He hits this guy, and look how dumb his run is. He's just up and down the hallway. You see what I'm saying? So that dumb little run down the hallway. Look at this. It's just that.
Hey, why that look like a Muppet? That's how Muppet moves. That
exactly.
Muppet moves. Yeah.
You know how long it took me to like animate that? That was like a morning, because it's a Muppet run. It's just like, why? The first pass I made on that, if I could, I can't. I'm not over.
He getting choked up right now.
Yo, I was animating that thing on once. He came in, slid into the wall, bang, and was just like bounding through the hallway, like all this beautiful Disney-esque arcs, and everything was beautiful. And the director was like, kill all that. I was in the back of the shower that night, just like like a week of my life, like for nothing. And it was at that point, it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever done. And so to kill that, like, hurt bad. But at the end of the day, it served the purpose of the film. That's the style of the film. We often think that there's only one way to participate in the fight to bring about social justice and things like of that nature. So we see individuals that are out marching, protesting, very, vocal on their social media, like talking about the issues, this and that. But and they might be reaching hundreds and thousands of people or whatever. And you might think, oh man, I'm too shy. I don't have that Angela Davis in me, that Fred Hampton, you know what I'm saying? Like, or whatever. I'm not that person. But your contribution could be that you create a short film that's just like has that little theme in it that sparks something in the youth, for instance, that makes them feel, value or something, and that could reach 10 million kids. You know what I mean? And you're behind the scenes, some shy introvert that just created a story that penetrated the minds of like millions. And that is just as effective, or arguably more effective, than some of the more overt, like, I'm for the people fighting in the streets visibly, And so I feel like we should all look at the way that we can affect change for, in positive ways, with what, skills we have or how we're moved to do so based on our nature, our skill set, all that stuff. So
one thing, there was when I was a PA, when I was the art PA over at PDI, I was in charge of making these art boards where you have all the art up for like a specific sequence, and we'd have meetings and talk about these sequences, and they'd use the art as like, a jumping off point of what people need to focus on. And I hung my art perfectly straight. I'm using rulers and everything, right? I'm getting busy. An art director came by, said, "Dre, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm getting the art boards ready for the next meeting." He was like, "You don't have to, you don't have to do all that." I said, I don't play around with what I do. You know what I mean? And he said, "Yeah, but you can't be, you can't be that serious about that." I said, or he said, "You can't be that proud of, that kind of shit." I said, "Well, I'm not proud of what I do. I'm proud of who I am, and it shows in everything I do." So I think don't ever, whatever you're working on, always come to it like this is the championship game. You know what I mean? If I show up to do some work, I ain't playing around. You ain't gonna get 80% of me. You getting 110. You know what I mean? Because I respect myself enough to show up with the 110 every time. And that's gonna just make any project that you're working on that much better. And plus the people you're working with are like, damn, you bring in your A game every time. We got to get that person back in the office. We got to get that person back in the building. So yeah, when it comes to the project, I'm never going to shortchange you because like say that the producer or the director, whatever, is making a story that I think is not the best story. That doesn't matter. I'm going to make sure I'm the best Dre though when I show up.
I'm more of a collaborator. I love collaborating. 2 heads are better than 1, 4 heads are better than 2, so on and so forth. I like to contribute ideas, but, I'm really good at like, oh yeah, and this. I'm more of a soldier than a commander, even though I'm often in command positions. And I want to be able to relate to the people that I'm directing. So being on other people's projects gives me an opportunity to understand exactly what I'm asking of other people, and exactly what it takes to get something done. And it's a huge opportunity to work on another project. You have, you are to some degree working with lower risk because somebody else is putting out their idea and you're helping make that happen. So if it's a win, you learn from that, but you didn't take all that risk. If it's a loss, you learn from that, but you didn't take all that risk. And you get to see how the business works. You get to see how people who, especially if you're trying to do your own thing, have connections that you don't have, at least you didn't at the start of things. So being able to see how things work, not just how to make something, but how companies make things and how those things get greenlit, how those things get aired, how those things get distributed. Those are all opportunities.
One of the things that I think is important with just us in this forum right now and understanding like sort of the power that we have as storytellers and as storytellers of color, I think, fundamentally, when you look at what we've been going through, and this is my take on it, but in America, I think, fundamentally a storytelling problem, where the way we see each other is been designed a certain way for so long. The way that people see Black people, the way people see people of color, various colored, brown and Black people, all of us, the way we see each other is essentially through, a lot of times you never met a person, but you have an idea about that person, right? And so how do you get those ideas? Those ideas just didn't come out of nowhere. They came out of stories. They came out of something you saw, something you heard. And I find more important than ever, what we do as storytellers, we create the way people believe and see the world. And it's like we're creating the modern day mythologies and the modern day ways that years from now, those things will, it's like a slow build. We didn't get to this place overnight. And we got to this place by a bunch of small seeds that have been planted over time to get us to this place. And I feel like one of the things that when I look at myself as a storyteller, I'm like, man, I have a huge responsibility not not only as a storyteller, but as a Black storyteller, to tell the things and to write the things that I think with this ability that I know people will be able to see and consume. So I feel like it has, in a way, very much strengthened my resolve to tell stories, because I think we desperately need stories, and especially in our world of animation, we have an ability to impact an entire generation. It's almost like I look at animation, it's like kind of like feeding. I always use dumb examples because I feel like those are better. Like, if you ever fed a dog medicine, you know what I mean? Like, if you ever like try to give a dog, my grandfather used to have a dog, and we used to always try to give it his medicine. The only way to give the dog medicine is he used to cut a Vienna sausage and put the medicine in the Vienna sausage and give it to the dog, right? And now the dog would kill it. The dog would kill it, but he didn't realize he was taking medicine, right? And I see animation like that, right? I see like we have beautiful things and stories that we can tell, that we can help showcase a whole world that has never been seen before, a whole group of people. I mean, everyone has that ability to tell stories, and they don't have to. I'm not just saying even like you have to have Black characters on screen, but the point is like you as a Black filmmaker, you as a person of color, you as a filmmaker are going to bring out your experience and going to bring that to the screen, and I feel like that's important, and that will help color the world in a different way than we've been used to. So when people look at a George Floyd, maybe they would have saw George Floyd a little differently. Maybe they would have saw people a little bit differently. And the way we see each other is such up for grabs right now. That's where I feel like our power in storytelling is so critical.
The quick way to tell a long story is I had a wild weekend with friends where we were out partying, drinking, all the stuff you can imagine. And as often happens after experiences like that, we were all driving back like, we got to make changes. I'm going to do a month of just vegan, no alcohol, just drinking water, working out, all this stuff. And so I declared like all these things I was going to do. I made like a whole list of like things I was going to do for 21 days. And they incorporated like diet, meditation, affirmations, gratitude, journaling, like working out. It was all this stuff. And it was just a personal thing I did. So I was like, all right, let's do it again. This time we're going to put it out there on social media. And what I thought was going to be, 10, 15 people joining me ended up being like 150, 200 something people were like, we're doing this. So I had a lot of people saying like, hey, I heard about your challenge, but I don't know about the meditation. Like, I'm a Christian. I don't know about that. And I was like, having explained like, well, let me explain what meditation is. It's not a religious thing like you might think, and like intermittent fasting, like what's that about? Like, here's the science behind it, this and that. So I decided it would be better to just create a website where people can go and just read the stuff. So instead of me having to explain, I can just say, hey, higherself.com. Just go there. All the information is on there for these practices that we're promoting. The longer term vision, maybe a year from now, when we go on there, you'll have all of these things, hopefully, so you'll be able to say, so if you're like my cousin who's like, I don't know what to eat. You want me to eat plant-based? What the heck? I want to be like, just go on the website. There's tons of recipes. You know what I mean? You don't have to eat bowls of iceberg lettuce. There's delicious meals that you can prepare and you don't have to think about it. It's all there.